Welcome to East Alabama Today, featuring topics, events, and interesting people from all over East Alabama. Hosted by Carl Brady. Now, let's get right to the show. Here's Carl Brady.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into East Alabama Today. Thanks for joining us on our program. As always, we'll start things off with a little contact information for you so you can get in touch with us if you have something going on that you would like to feature on East Alabama Today. Fairs, festivals, special events, things that are going on in your community and in your neck of the woods. We would love to hear from you. So the best way to do that is to send me an email, cbrady@tv24.tv. Send me that information, email addresses, websites, phone numbers, those kind of things for the events that are going on in your area. You guys are the only way we know about what's going on, so send me that information and let me know what's happening in your community. And we also want to know about the interesting people who live in your community. Maybe you know someone who's a writer, an artist, or a musician. Maybe they have an odd or an interesting hobby and you think they'd be a great guest for the program. It's exactly who we want to know about. So send me emails about them as well to cbrady@tv24.tv. And remember, if you happen to miss a show or if you want to go back and review some information that you saw on an East Alabama Today episode, you can do it online at tv24.tv. Go to our website, go to the on-demand section and click on East Alabama Today, and there you'll see a whole series of East Alabama Today shows dating back for several weeks. You can go and always check that out and watch it at your convenience whenever you'd like to. Just pull it up right on your computer. We'll be back in just a moment. Thanks for joining us on the show today. Stay with us. Welcome back into East Alabama Today. Again, I'm Carl Brady, and today we're going to be talking about a program that has been extended to several nonprofit agencies in the East Alabama region. We'll tell you about that as we continue with the show. My guests today are from the Community Foundation of Northeast Alabama. We have Jennifer Maddox with us. Jennifer, welcome to the program.
Thank
Good to see you as always.
My pleasure to be here.
And Donta Council as well. Donta, great to see you. Great to have you on the program.
Thank you.
We're going to be talking about a new Standards for Excellence program that some of our local nonprofit agencies have gone through, and what that means to you as members of the community. But Jennifer, just give me an overview of the Standards for Excellence and what these programs are.
Right, so the Standards for Excellence is a guideline for not-for-profit organizations on how to run their operations effectively, efficiently, appropriately. And it was created by the Standards for Excellence Institute in Maryland as a program from the Maryland Association of Nonprofits. Certain organizations like the Community Foundation field have national standards that we comply with, and that's through the Council on Foundations. And it's a very rigorous process that we have to go through to say we're in compliance with our national standards. And we knew that that was important for not-for-profits. And so this opportunity that the Standards for Excellence Institute created is for any not-for-profit, no matter what their service delivery is, no matter what they're doing, who they're serving. These are 8 guiding principles. And Donta Council has been our intern for the past 9 months working on the Standards for Excellence project. And I believe Donta can share the 8 guiding principles.
Yes. We start off first with the mission and program. That's where you go into looking into your mission statement, making sure that it's conducive with the programs of the actual agency. We then move forward with the governing body. So that's going to be your board of directors, making sure they're participating, making sure that they are actually reporting back to the board their certain roles and responsibilities. Moving on to conflict of interest, their openness with the community if they decide to disclose their tax forms, if they decide to disclose, how much are they spending on their programs. Also, the human resources. We go into their volunteer policies, into the employee policies, their advocacy policies as well. And moving just a little bit forward, one of the more interesting parts is their fundraising. How do they fundraise? Do they solicit for funds? So it goes into 8 different principles, and they all play a big part into how the agency effectively runs. So that's pretty much what what I've gone through.
It deals with...
Well, it gives the community a sense of comfort that when they're working with this organization or donating to this organization, that everything is above board and being run very conscientiously.
Absolutely. Transparency is very important in this process, making sure that the community is aware of your tax return, your financial statements, that you've had an audited financial statement, that somebody else, a professional, has looked at your expenses and your income and made sure that that's correct. Also, how are you treating your donors? Are you providing them the right notifications for tax purposes? Are you accounting for their contributions appropriately? So it's very much an assurance to donors that this organization is not only worthy of your support because of the work that they do, but worthy of your support because you have confidence in their capacity to do it and do it well. So the Community Foundation in Northeast Alabama heard about this program. And we knew that it could be of a benefit to not-for-profits in the Northeast Alabama area. So I called the CEO for the United Way of East Central Alabama. At the time, that was Mr. Curtis Simpson. And I said, I've heard about this program. And United Ways have their own national standards, too, through United Way, and that they have to comply with. And so we both had the experience of already going through that process in our own organizations, through our own national affiliations. And I said, let's go look at this program. It was being offered by the Alabama Association of Nonprofits, located in Birmingham, and they're a partner with the Institute to offer this program in Alabama. And I said, let's go check this out. And it was a 2-day program, and we were skeptical. We've seen other programs, and we knew that this may be nothing. And so it was a 2-day program in Birmingham, and we were so skeptical we didn't even plan to stay the night. We didn't think we'd go back the second day. And so we went, and we were impressed. So we have a background in what standards are, and for us to be impressed was really over the top. And we were so impressed that on the drive back the first day, we were talking about how could we bring this program to Calhoun County at the time. And we got up early the next morning to drive back and be back in Birmingham by 8 o'clock in the morning to finish the second day of training. And by the end of the second day of training, we had a defined plan to bring this program to Calhoun County 2 months from the date we were there. And so it was a big partnership. It was the Community Foundation Northeast Alabama, United Way of East Central Alabama, the Alabama Association of Nonprofits, who came and did the training for free. And Camp Lee hosted us for free. We had some other donors that helped with meals and snacks and things. And we were able to provide this training for free to not-for-profits, and it was all new to them, of course. So trying to explain why this was going to be beneficial was challenging because nobody had ever heard of it before. But one of the things that we did uniquely here in Northeast Alabama, and any not-for-profit was able to attend, was we added a component that wasn't there. This was normally a 2-day training just for the CEO of the not-for-profit. But we knew that a not-for-profit executive can go to a training, get all fired up, I want to do this, go back to his or her board members, say, oh, we should be doing this, and the board members go, well, we don't have the time, we don't have the money, and it just dies, right? So what we required is you can come for free, and you have your 2-day training. But to get that, you have to have 2 board members commit to coming to a separate 1-day training for board members. And that was challenging for them to say a whole day of a board member coming for training. But they did that. I had one board member who attended the 1-day only training come, and their CEO said, now this person, they're not going to stay past lunch. They have bought a table at some lunch fundraiser, and they're going to go to that, and they're not going to come back. So I just want to let you know they're not going to stay. Okay. But this training is so impactful that board member not only didn't go to their lunch where they were hosting a table at a fundraiser, but they stayed the entire day and said it was the best training that they'd ever received as a board member. So we knew that we had a hit. And we had 8 18 organizations come to this first training. And out of that 18, 14 of them said, we want to try and apply for standards. We want to do this process. And so we began to have monthly meetings with these not-for-profit agencies to help them through the process. And of course, we didn't know what we were doing. I mean, it was a new process,
Right.
and so we're all kind of learning as we go along. And we started these meetings in October of 2012. And we got to May of 2013, and we had made some progress, but we hadn't made significant progress.
Right.
And in stepped the mayor of the city of Anniston. He called me one day and he said, I have an intern. Could you use this person? And I said, I just know the right project.
Yeah.
Now, this wasn't Donta. This was a young woman named Kate Scarborough. And Kate came to us, and she spent the entire summer. She was a junior in college, going to finish her senior year the next fall. And she worked in depth with each of the organizations to help them get their application. And Donta can explain a little bit about that process, because he did it with our second group. And because of that intern, we were able to get 9 not-for-profit organizations in Calhoun County to submit their applications for standards. And that was in September of 2013. Kate went back to school.
Yeah.
And so we started working on that, and I kind of had to shepherd that process because I didn't have an intern anymore. But we started a second round of opportunities, and this time it was every not-for-profit in the 9 counties that the Community Foundation serves were invited to attend. And we held a second training this past January, and that's where Donta came in. He was our next intern.
Absolutely. Well, we need to take a commercial break, so let's do that, and we'll talk more about the Standards for Excellence program when we return. Stay with us here on East Alabama Today. Welcome back into East Alabama Today. We're talking with Jennifer Maddox and Donta Council with the Community Foundation of Northeast Alabama and the new Standards for Excellence program for nonprofit organizations in the East Alabama area. And just last week, you had an announcement, a big press release and a big media day for the agencies that have completed the process and have achieved these standards of excellence. Talk about those agencies and who they are. Let's recognize who they are.
Oh, absolutely. They did a lot of hard work to get to this point. The organizations that are now accredited in the state of Alabama include, and not in any particular order, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Northeast Alabama, Chiha Creative Arts, Children's Services, Community Enabler Developer, Interfaith Ministries, the Public Education Foundation of Anniston, Piedmont Benevolent Center, and the YMCA of Calhoun County. Now, this is the really important point that listeners really need to understand. In the state, the entire state of Alabama, the total number of organizations certified and accredited in compliance with these standards, the total number now, after the announcement on Friday of the 8, the total number in Alabama is 10. There are only 2 other organizations in the state of Alabama, one in Montgomery and one in Birmingham, that have received this accreditation. And in one day, Northeast Alabama announced 8 at one time. So we are really the forefront of this movement in the state of Alabama. And a huge amount of credit goes to our interns that have made that possible, because we know that not only did the CEO need the support of their board to move forward, because it's a huge effort that requires board involvement, but it is also something that they need guidance and assistance and partnering and help with. And our interns that have worked on this for us are a big part of that. And Donta can tell you more about that experience and how it affected the not-for-profits.
Yeah, what was the process once they went to the initial training and then they decided decided, okay, we want our organization to go through this and achieve these standards, and then you step in and help them out. What was the process for them at that point?
At that point, we would hold monthly meetings in collaboration with United Way, the CEO, and Jennifer, and myself. And in those meetings, we would go over 2 principles at a time. So we would go into depth what standards wanted for each submission. And it would last about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And we would give a chance to ask questions, give examples if you need help. And what would happen in immediate time between 1 month and the next month, I would meet with them. And in the beginning, Jennifer can attest to that I was a little more reactive than proactive, if you will. Yeah. Meaning that I kind of assumed that most of the nonprofits just knew what they were doing. They had all the expertise. I'm new to this. They don't need my help. But then I realized we aren't making much progress. What's going on? And I had a great conversation with Jennifer one day, and she's shared with me that sometimes people, they're not confident, so they don't want to ask questions. Right. So I became a little more proactive, and I would start to call. And when I called, the executive directors really wanted to ask more questions, so I had to set up one-on-one meetings. So weekly, I would meet with each nonprofit, and I would go there and we would go more in depth to answer questions, to get more insight, to give a little more guidance into what they needed specifically for their organization. Because with this round of applicants, I found that the dynamics of how they serve the community were very different. And with that being said, the way that they would evaluate their programs, the way that their boards were set up would be the dynamics were very different. So how you would evaluate one program with one organization would be totally different from another. So you kind of had to be well versed in understanding program evaluation and program metrics and methods. So we would meet monthly, and in the intermediate time I would meet with them. And during that time, it was interesting because you saw a lot of lights kind of pop up every now and then. It's like, oh, this is how we should do things. Oh, this is a better way. But also it became a little frustrating when some of the more seasoned nonprofits, they've always done it a certain way.
Right, right.
They've always done it a certain way. They've been around for years. They're kind of the pioneers in their communities, so they know best. But they weren't always as current with new practices and best practices for their organization. So trying to make someone or help someone understand how to become more efficient, how to become better organized, that's been around in the community for 10 or 15 years was frustrating. It can be hard.
I bet it was.
But the rewarding part is when that light bulb comes on and you can motivate a whole board to finally contribute financially to sustain their organization because they've had a deficit in their budget. Or when you're able to recruit new board members in the community to help guide the organization. Those are the rewarding parts of it. So I can definitely say that the application process is challenging.
Yeah, but you have to look at so many different things, and like you said, it challenges them to look at their practices in a different way. Now, once you've met with them, once you're guiding them through the process, you mentioned 8 different principles and different areas that are looked at. Where does that information go? Does that go to the organization in Maryland for them to review the application and then say, okay, yes, you meet our standards, here's your certificate? At that point, where does the approval process come in?
The approval process comes in, I think that Jennifer and Curtis had a vision that they would come to us first, so we would review all their policies and procedures, and then it would be submitted to the actual institute. So what would happen is, during our meetings, we would go over a principle, and I would ask them to submit to me in about 2 to 3 weeks all their submissions, and I would review them and to make sure that they were up to standard, and I would keep them. At the point when the application is finished, we would submit those online to the actual institute. So they go through the actual official process.
And the official process is they first have staff review at the institute. So each application, which by the way, the number of documents per application is probably 100 125
to
150
150.
documents from each organization. So the staff at the Institute reviews it to make sure that you've answered every question, your document that you submitted is the one that you're supposed to submit, and you didn't give the wrong one,
Right.
And that all the things are filled out, and that at least an answer has been given. And then from there it goes to peer review. So a CEO of another nonprofit who's already been accredited in standards reviews that application. And at each stage, by the way, the not-for-profit can get a letter back from the Institute that says, well, you forgot this, you need to do this differently,
Right.
This isn't what it's supposed to be. You get another chance to submit. Once you've made that cut with the staff, then it goes to the peer review. Peer reviewers can send stuff back and say, well, I don't like this needs to change, I want something else. And then once the peer review is done, then they have an ethics review. And so the ethics review committee comes involved in and looks at everything from an ethical point of view and a legal point of view. And they too can send things back and say, this needs to be a little bit different, that sort of thing. Once it's made it all the way through, staff review, peer review, ethics review, then you can get blessed.
Yeah.
So it's significant and it's intensive, and you have a lot of people looking over the documentation that's been provided.
And we only have a couple of minutes left, so very quickly here at the end, this was it sounds like a very intensive process and a long process for the nonprofits involved. You've got this round over with. Are you going to open this up for other nonprofits to do it again? Is there another opportunity for the nonprofits who didn't participate the first time to try it again?
Absolutely. We have a second group. We held a second training in January of this year. We had a second group that submitted last month. That's 4 organizations, CAST, Community Actors Studio Theater, SAVE, Saving Animals Volunteer Effort, Independent Reading and Counseling, and The Right Place. Those 4 submitted applications last month. One that didn't finish in the first round has gone to the second, and that's West Anniston Foundation. Our next training opportunity is probably going to be in February. We're looking at trying to do it once a year in Northeast Alabama. And in fact, I'm going to be talking very shortly with the United Way CEO, Joan Hightower, here in Etowah County to plan it. We intend to host it in Gadsden sometime in February, and we will be notifying all the not-for-profits that that opportunity is now available to them, and hopefully that they will say, this is something that I want to be a part of, because when you can share with your donors that you have complied and are accredited in Standards for Excellence, and they get this lovely certificate that they can hang on the wall that says that they are, then you really can assure your donors we're worth it. In fact, the Standards for Excellence Institute did a quick survey, and I'll share this one fact with you, that they had a group that was applying for standards, and they had a group that was not. It was a control group. And they found that donations increased for the group that was applying for standards, both in the year which they were working towards accreditation and the year after they received accreditation. Donations increased over the group that didn't do it by around 30%.
Wow.
And in fact, the group that didn't do it, their donations actually declined in that same period. So it is really a boon to the not-for-profit to do this in terms of fundraising.
Absolutely. One more final commercial break, and we'll be back in just a moment to wrap up today's show, so stay with us. Our final segment of East Alabama today, and if you are interested in the Standards for Excellence program that we've been talking about, then you need to get in touch with Jennifer at the Community Foundation of Northeast Alabama. Get put on their mailing list. Now, how do people get in touch with you to get on those lists?
The easiest way would be to call the Community Foundation of Northeast Alabama at 256-231-5160 and dial extension 29. That's Susan Williamson, and she will have information on all of our not-for-profits that we will send emails to and let you know about the opportunity to participate. If you want more information about Standards for Excellence, you can also go to our website at www.yourcommunityfirst.org.
All right, sounds good. Jennifer, thank you so much for being with us on the show today. Donta, thank you for being with us as well. And folks, we thank you for joining us here on East Alabama today. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again next time.